We usually only review the simonim at the end of the simon. We usually do a review. However, because we spent some time on this sif and there's a lot of stuff all over the place, I think that it would be worthwhile to do a review just on this sif that we're doing. So we're basically just going to run through this sif and see what happens. These are the notes that I took. It took a lot of time to put all of this together. Okay, we're going to start with Shabbos candles. Why do we light Shabbos candles? So we already saw that one of the reasons was Shalom Bayis. Main explanation of what Shalom Bayis is peace in the house, tranquility. Rashi says, "Kedei shelo yikashel be'itzu be'evan," so that you do not stumble and fall, right? Because people can't see over here, right? And so that you don't trip. That's a simple explanation. Simple explanation, this applies to spouses. However, the Chassam Sofer teaches us an insight that this applies to people who live by themselves as well so that they don't fall. That is the main reason why we light Shabbos candles. So obviously nowadays that we have electricity, that reason doesn't apply as much. However, these other reasons would apply. Reason number two, Oneg Shabbos. The Medrash Tanchum relates that those who go to Gehenna get judged in darkness. Therefore, light is the opposite of Gehenna. All right. So, yeah. So, and it possesses an oneg component to it. Shiboli Halek, it says that people who eat in the dark mentally do not become full, satiated. We therefore light candles. We therefore light candles in order that we can get pleasure when we eat. Osvaldo Mishnah explains that according to this, the oneg of lighting Shabbos candles has to do with eating and drinking. So that's a interesting reason. Kavod Shabbos is another reason, and then we have the Nachlas Fi, which we learned yesterday that we are trying to commemorate the 36 hours of straight light that began from the eve of Shabbos until after Shabbos during the creation of the world. We're commemorating that. What does it mean, make a nice candle? Torah explains that we should be careful to make a nice candle. Uzva Hadar Mishnah Brew explains that this means having good olive oil, good and wicks. Right? Rav Huna says that someone who is regular with the candle will have children who become scholars. I didn't write over here all the explanations of this, which we did one session on, but that is a major discussion of itself that we learned. Bach explains that even though lighting Shabbos candles is obligatory, nevertheless beautifying the mitzvah or buying the best types of wicks and the like are not obligatory. Someone who does so will merit having sons as scholars. How many candles should we have? Torah says some of the custom to make two wicks. One corresponds to Zachar, the positive slash active mitzvahs of Shabbos, and the other one corresponds to Shamar, the negative or passive mitzvahs of Shabbos. Magen Avraham quotes the Shlah, who says that some have the custom to light 7 candles. 7. Others say that we should light 10 candles. 10 commandments, etc. Ali Rabbah says that some say the 2 candles we light correspond to the husband and wife. The gematria of Ner is 250 times 2 is 500. We have 248 limbs. Women have 242, so therefore it's equivalent. Lukuti Ma'arech says that since someone who increases the amount of candles he lights will merit children who are scholars, therefore the custom developed to add a candle after each birth in order that one will merit children who will become scholars. That is the custom among most people.
So all the candles have to be the same size?
We discussed that yesterday. Probably not. We'll see if we come
Okay.
across that as we continue. Does a
Oh,
woman
okay,
who
okay.
forgot to light need to add another candle? Yes or no? Bachar Ramah quote Maharil, who rules that a woman who forgot to light Shabbos candles once must add an additional candle for the rest of her life. According to Bach, the reason for this halacha is that the rabbis don't want this to happen again. In other words, the rabbis find her in order that she will be careful not to miss lighting again in the future. According to Prima Gadim, she has to add another candle the rest of her life, even if she forgot to light one candle. Now, according to the reasoning of the Bach, this makes a lot of sense. We don't want her to be a repeat offender and forget to light again. According to Machas a shekel, she needs to add another candle in order to atone for the candle that she forgot, or to make up the forgotten candle. Tashlumen. Ber Halacha argues and holds that someone who forgot one candle, right, or more, if she just lit one candle and forgot all the others, she wouldn't need to light another candle. This is probably my favorite part of uh this summary that I wrote up. Any questions, by the way, so far?
Nope.
The
So you said
following,
you said Talmidei Chachamim,
yeah,
right? So like that applies, I guess, equally to boys and girls. Like 'cause for a girl, you know, looking to
Or
become
the
a Talmid
girl who
Chacham.
married.
yeah, it means that you're basically it's not only the Talmidei Chachamim. The truth of the matter is, it's that if you have girls, that they should marry uh males who will be a Talmid Chacham.
So that's what the
Or
candle's for. Got it.
yeah, both.
Okay.
Now, the following is my favorite part of the summary, and I think that this just makes everything so organized. The following is a list of cases where if a woman didn't light, she wouldn't need to add an extra candle. All right. These are around 15 exceptions. There are more. Okay. Magen Avraham relates that if she didn't light because she had an extenuating circumstance, that she doesn't need to add another candle. For example, if there's a medical reason, Rav Harfin talks about in his chuvas, and something along those lines. Ali Rabbah says that someone who is poor can be lenient and add extra oil or light a bigger candle than before. So that was Ali Rabbah specifically by someone who is poor. She doesn't need to actually add another candle. She could just increase the amount of oil or the size of the candle. 3, a woman who forgot to light in her mother's house and her mother lit would not need to add another candle. This even applies if she would sleep in her own house. Later, excuse me, and was only eating by her parents' house, by her parents. So in other words, if she had another house and she forgot to light in hers, she wouldn't need to light again. Moshe argues on that ruling, by the way. Moshe Feinstein, the side point. A woman who forgot to light candles on Yom Tov would not need to light another candle, according to some. Others argue. So you have a machlokas. It's a discussion if she forgot on Yom Tov, she would need to add on Shabbos. They say even if you forget on Shabbos to light and you don't come onto one of these exceptions and you need to add another candle, you would still need to add on Yom Tov also. If a candle extinguished immediately after being lit in an unexpected manner, then one would not be obligated to light another candle. Very important. Exception number 6, someone who didn't light because she was sick doesn't need to add another candle. That's kind of similar to above, the Magen Avraham, but okay. Someone who didn't light because of an alarm clock failure doesn't need to add another alarm clock. Add another candle, excuse me. Where she told someone to wake her up, that person was negligent and didn't wake her up. Someone who didn't light because she was stuck in unexpected traffic doesn't need to add another candle. If it was expected traffic, so then she's accountable and would in fact need to add. Someone whose candles fell after lighting doesn't need to add another candle. Okay, similar idea from above. From the Pri Megadim, it's applied that a woman who forgot to light would not need to add another candle. A man who forgot to light, excuse me, would not need to light another candle. Women need to fix the sin of Chava, unlike men. Rav Chaim Kanievsky rules this way as well. That was a question that we just dealt with. Exception number 11. If she forgot to light the first Shabbos she was married, she doesn't need to add another candle. Interesting why there would be an exception over there. That requires more research. Someone who isn't married and forgot wouldn't need to add another candle. That makes sense. Someone else is lighting for anyways. A woman who wasn't home for a Shabbos and their husband forgot to light does not need to add another candle. That's the case that we just learned before. A woman who forgot to light actual
For
candles.
that one, why wasn't she lighting where she was?
Well, that's a question. Let's say, for example, she was sick, she wasn't able to light, and she appointed her husband, and then the husband forgot, and then she's fine.
Right. So it means like you're saying it's only if she's sick, not if she went for like a resort or something
Yeah,
on
well,
vacation.
if she's able to light there, so then for sure. But if she's unable to, so then
Got it.
she's unable to. Like a hotel, they have very strict rules, whatever it is. A woman who forgot to light actual candles but lit electric lights, quote, in honor of Shabbos. So she turned on the light switch in honor of Shabbos after Plag HaMincha. She doesn't need to light another candle. The actual electricity could count. It could be that's only if it's an incandescent bulb, is what to look into more over there. Explanation number
She have to
15.
does she have
What?
to verbalize that? Does she have to verbalize that?
No, she could probably mentally think it. It's enough. That's a kind of a rational in Shiloh. Nice idea to verbalize, not necessary. Exception number 15. Someone who forgot to light but remembered after sunset and asked someone who isn't Jewish to light candles for does not need to add another candle. Look, a lot of this stuff over here, we should just point out, is not in Torah and the Mefarshim, is not in Shulchan Aruch and the commentaries, is not really in Mishnah Berurah so much either. This really comes afterwards, and this is a very nice list of a summary of exceptions, and there are a lot more. And the point of the matter is that any competent rabbi who knows this topic well, in many situations, is really able to find a loophole for a woman who forgot to light. However, there are certainly many scenarios in which there would be no leniencies to apply, and therefore she has to be careful. And this is a real idea. Where should we light? Magen Avraham says that we should light candles in any room that we will go. Shevet Levi says that this lighting isn't from the letter of the law. Rather, is a way to beautify the mitzvah because the candles were already lit where one ate. Furthermore, one doesn't need to light candles in other rooms if the electric lights are on. So, in other words, this concept of lighting in other rooms is like a hidden mitzvah. It's above and beyond. It's not me'ikr hadin. It's not the letter of the law. The letter of the law, she just lights in where she's going to eat, and also because we have electricity. So, but the idea from over here is, which is actually very important, that you have to light, you have to put on your electricity any room that you're going to go in. So that's important. Keep the rooms well lit. Miscellaneous. Prisha quotes Rambam, who says that one is obligated to knock on people's doors and ask for money in order to afford Shabbos candles. We're going to come to that more in the next sif. Eliyazuta quotes Shla and Matan Moshe, who says that women should pray when they light candles that their children should become scholars. Piskei Teshuvos relates that we shouldn't directly throw leftover wicks and oils into the garbage. Rather, we should burn them during Sfiras Chametz, Lag Bomer. There's an idea about that. Piskei Teshuvos relates that there's a custom to give charity before lighting the Shabbos candles. Women have to be careful not to move the stucco box after lighting candles. That's certainly an important point to contend with. So this is the summary that I wrote. It definitely, I'm just being honest with everyone, took me hours. It took me a couple of hours. I mean, that's a lot of pages. It's a little over 3 pages, but to organize it and to go through everything that we did, it took a long time. It took me a good couple of hours to go through. So, are there any questions or comments on anything regarding the summary of the first SIF, or any other additional points that you think that we missed that should be added, or any comments?
Did we talk about how the women cover their eyes and wave the hands?
We definitely did not talk about that, and we definitely will talk about that in
Okay.
depth. Um, you know, we all have to realize this is just the first sif of this simon. Um, so we're going to be continuing, and there's going to be a lot more going on as we continue. Any other ideas? What?
I don't think so. I think it's. I don't know what other. I mean, no, we haven't covered everything. We really have to ask at the end. We're going to finish the whole segment.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty comprehensive from this if. I just thought, and I believe that everyone else agrees, that it was a good idea just to start reviewing this because
Sure.
there's a lot of different concepts that we learned just to mentally organize it. Now we have it written down. We could understand everything. So, okay.